Hello, good morning, or whatever it happens to be when you were watching this. I am completely unprepared. I just at literally the last minute went, you know what, I feel like streaming today, so I'm gonna stream today. There might be somebody here, but I'm not sure. Shout out if you are in chat. Hello, puppet building again. I know, really. Who really needs this? Well, I do for one. Um, but I am so unprepared. I hit the stream button as I was still selecting a shirt. So this was just the first shirt in my closet. It's a nice shirt. This is actually I think the first time I've worn this because this is one of my new shirts because I haven't had shirts to wear because I lost all the weight and didn't get any new clothes. But now I'm starting to get new clothes. My wonderful supportive wife got me a whole bunch of new Hawaiian shirts, and this is among them, and this is pretty good. Oh, but yeah, I've been scrambling this morning because I had to take a day off yesterday for various and sundry reasons, and I'm not gonna talk about medical stuff. I say this every time, and then every time I do, I had some medical stuff to take care of yesterday. Everything's fine, everything's good. But because of that, I've lost a day of building, and next week I'm on vacation, so I gotta finish the October builds for what was on my docket, and this should do it. Today and tomorrow should take care of that. I hope so because the first is what like Tuesday. Halloween's Monday, I think. So I think yeah, I gotta get going. I don't really want to work on the weekend. I do if I have to, but I like to try and make sure I have at least some downtime. So I think we'll chill for a bit because I did some prep work ahead of time, so we're in good shape. We can keep going, getting this done. And so I just poured myself a new cup of coffee, so I'm gonna hang out and chill for a bit. Cheers, Kermit. Just joined Will Smith, not that Will Smith. Will Smith, uh, formerly of Tested and Whiskey Media, etc., etc. Um, I joined his Discord. I was on the Tech Pod Discord, which is a fantastic podcast. Brad and Will made a Tech Pod. Hello, Koya. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming along. I'm doing good. Things are normal, which is only good in the results of medical tests. And no other place. Everywhere else, aim for abnormal. But when it's medical tests, aim for normal. And apparently, I'm normal. Uh, yes, it has been a while. But yeah, I'm back doing the thing. So these streams are non-structured, as you can tell by my lack of being prepared. This is just I'm hitting the stream button when I feel like streaming and just doing my daily work. So there's no plan. I'm just so right now is the opening having coffee. That's how I decide when to start the stream. It's like okay, coffee break, so I can sit and chat and wait for folks to show up if they are available. So you know. So as I was saying, Will Smith's Discord. Yeah, I joined Will Smith's Discord. Will Smith currently again not that Will Smith, the the internet's famous Will Smith. He's got a Discord. He does a bunch of streaming and stuff. He also has a great podcast with Brad Shoemaker. Brad and Will made a tech pod. If you're into tech stuff, highly recommended. They also do the FOSS pod, which is about free open source software. Also really good. And Will Smith has his very own personal Discord, and I just joined that. And so I got a bunch of new people who are now aware of my work, which is always nice. I try not to get too self-promotion-y on other people's platforms. I ask permission before, because somebody asked, "Hey, where can I see your stuff?" And so I made sure I asked a mod first, "Is it okay to post my link tree?" And they said, "Absolutely." So I did. So there's some new people coming on board. Always nice. I'm feeling less rushed now that this stream's going. That was the thing. Like I didn't do I don't even know what state the cameras are in. Like again, everything changes from week to week. So Will Smith, no, not the famous Will Smith. Well, he's internet famous. So this is Will Smith of Test. He used to work at Testa.com. He used to work at Whiskey Media, Maximum PC. He He's currently doing a bunch of podcasting and streaming. He's just a great like internet tech journalist, gamer journalist kind of guy. Really really fun. Yeah, but not that Will Smith. In fact, he has had an issue because like, he was an early Twitter adopter and he got at Will Smith on Twitter. Guess what? You know, it's like everybody just assumes that at Will Smith is the famous Will Smith. So he's his opening line in the bio on Twitter is like, "I'm not the guy you're mad at," right? So yeah, no, not that Will Smith, the other Will Smith. There's a lot of Will Smiths, it turns out. And yeah, no, he's a ginger white guy. So you know, definitely not the famous Will Smith. But yeah, so that was nice. And our Discord, the Operation Puppet Discord is actually picking up a bit. It's been a bit busier than usual, with new people coming on, which is fantastic. I'm looking at it right now. 7 people currently online. I mean, this is the Discord's funny because like there's some discords that are just constantly active, right? And there are other discords, even of like pretty big things. Like I'm on the No Such Thing as a Fish. It's a British podcast. If you haven't heard of it, um, yes, Koya. Hey, hang on. I got it. I think we can even do this easily. Look, check this out. I got a whole thing. Here we go. Discord. Boom. There you go. That should have popped up a link for you, and you can join the Operation Puppet Discord. Yeah, I guess it's been a while. The Discord's been going for I got a few weeks now, something like that. It's quiet. It's also very friendly. You know, there's not a lot of us yet, but that's okay. There's more now. You know, always nice. But yeah, and that's a good place to go to. Like, I mean, with what's going on with Twitter, like Twitter used to be my kind of main platform, just for hanging out and doing the socials. But I don't know with the Muskie Boy taking over, it's put a bit of a damper on things. So I'm probably going to be more like I gotta keep the socials going just so people can find me. But in terms of just being active and like sort of friendly and conversational, I think that's probably gonna end up being just Discord. I'm on a few Discords, right? So you know, there's people. It just it fragments the population, right? Which is never a great thing. But it's just the way it is, you know, with the rich tech bros taking over all the platforms and then systematically destroying them. You know, that's gonna happen, unfortunately. But Discord is still can be a nice place because it's run the individual discords are run by the users. So in the best tradition of Tron, you know, we fight for the users. um, yeah, but nice. I think you just joined, if I see correctly. Hey, Koya, there you go. Just got a wave for for the weird anime cat, I guess, that it automatically puts. There we go. Nice to see you. Yeah, there is a stream chat channel that is just the chat from this stream, and if you're on Twitch or whatever, you're already seeing that. So that's generally where I hang out actively during a stream. But you know, so yeah, making puppets, having coffee. The summary of my life. Kind of miss the music. I'm not even playing music just for me now. It's such a landmine or minefield of potential copyright strikes. I was surprised. So the Jelly Roll video that went up recently, I was I was kind of thinking if anything's going to get a copyright strike, this will because you know Jelly Roll's voice and Tom Waits' voice are not a million miles apart. Thankfully, it hasn't. Everything's fine. Facebook hasn't even muted it, so I don't know. It's not. It. I don't. I think my singing is bad enough that it does not recognize it as music. That's the theory, and so far that theory is got some evidence behind it. I'm fooling the algorithms by being bad. That's how you do it. it's like the audio version of like wearing those like those face masks that scramble so face detection systems can't see you. It's like that, but for audio. Just be bad at it. That's the solution. All right, I got to get to the puppet building. So today I am making. Let's go to the top down camera. There we go. Making some sonk puppets. These are going to be the last builds for the month. Then I go on vacation. I'm going to New York City. Yay. Just for fun, for a long weekend, just for no reason, just to be in New York City. Um, Frankie's going back to his old stomping grounds. Well, kind of. I mean, in my personal head mythology, I don't even know if this has ever come out in the show, but in my head canon, Frankie, it was originally from Jersey, and then he moved to New York. He spent most of his time in Queens, near the the Museum of the Moving Image, which is right next to the studio where they shoot Sesame Street. This is deep lore stuff for the Oracle. But yeah, we're spending all our time in Manhattan, and I'm gonna do Harlem. Um, you ain't bad. No, no, you are a talented public. That's very kind. Well, of course, it might be. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, as those regular viewers know how much of a fan of traditional jazz I am, and as many times as I've been to New York, I've never actually done the tour, not really the tour, but like just looked at the historical landmark sites in Harlem. And Harlem, of course, is a very important place in the history of jazz. Um, Vital. It's where the original, like the Savoy and the Cotton Club, and they were all just there in Harlem. It's where New York jazz really started in Harlem, and we've just never just the opportunity never came up. Um, so this time, one of the things that's on my agenda. We're going to the Jazz Museum. We're going to go have a meal at Sylvia's, which is the famous soul food restaurant in Harlem. It's gonna be great. Really looking forward to that. Um, but anyway, puppets. Enough about jazz. We're talking about puppets. So yeah, I got a couple of song puppets already cut out here, and yeah, it's I am really looking forward to it. The way I do this, so song puppets, this is just all the bits of song puppets already cut out. I try and do them in batches of, if I'm not rushing, I'll do batches of two. If I am pushing myself, I can do four song puppets in a day. I'm just gonna do two today, and I might do two tomorrow. We'll see how tomorrow shakes out. I gotta do laundry, so that's gonna take some time. But the way I do it, because the song puppets, if you've seen the song puppets before, you know that they have there's like a two-tone thing. It's like a fur and a fleece thing, and the kind of the muzzle and the head parts made out of fleece, and the body's made of fur, and they're just very simple tubes. They come in two bits, and there's kind of how they go together. So what I always do is I sew the two halves first. So I make the two halves, and then I sew the two halves together. So that's all I'm going to do right now. Is I'm going to pin these together, and then we're going to sew these on the machine, and then we're going to, well, actually not pin, clip, because I like using my clips for fur. And then we're going to clip them together and sew them on the machine, and then I got to do the mouth plates, the fabric mouth linings, and then that gets hand stitched in. So that's going to take some time. So we're going to do this on the machine first. And the question is always, because these are two color, what color thread to use. And I always go with the thread that's the color of the fleece, because that's the one you may see, depending on how far, the seam goes. On fur, you never see the thread at all, unless you've made a big mistake. So I'm going to get some orange thread for the orange. That again, I'm gonna spend some time one day and just color correct all of these cameras, because they're all different. Like, they're so very different. By all means, question away. That's again one of the things is like, this is just a forum where, because I'm just doing my daily work, if you got any question, I'm happy to answer it. I may not be able to get around to a practical demonstration, but I'll do my best. So while I'm looking for some orange thread, here we go. How close does that match? Let's see. It's not bad. It'll do. Let me see if I have a bobbin already wound. Uh, you absolutely have permission. That would be great. I've been lucky enough to have a couple pieces of fan art done. Somebody, I think like last year, or the year before, did Frankie, and I apologize, I don't remember who it was. And recently, Richard Gomez did Jelly Roll, which was really really great. Um, but please, yeah, absolutely. Uh, that's very very flattering. It will be featured prominently somewhere. I promise you that. Okay, so I do have a bobbin threaded. Not a lot of thread on it, but we'll see how far we can get with it. Get rid of this yellow thread because that's unnecessary at this time. Pull the machine. Actually, I'll do the clipping first. Do the prep. Get my clips. I've got Tom Waits song stuck in my head now, but then again, that's pretty much my ground state of being. So just imagine some Tom Waits song currently playing. Currently, it's "Invitation to the Blues" that's stuck in my head. I could sing it like Jelly Roll. We will get a copyright strike. She's a moving violation from her head down to her shoes. I accept your invitation to the blues. Hmm? I'll get a guitar and we'll just not worry about copyright strikes ever again. I mean, that is something. Not only do I worry about the strikes, I don't want that, but also like, I am somebody who makes original works. I don't want somebody else, taking my work, and so I won't do that to another artist, no matter how big they are. It's just not the thing you do. But knowing I got permission, shall be working on. I also have uh, about the art. I have permission to post it on my Instagram once it's done. Absolutely, by all means. Just all I ask for stuff like that is just tag me so I can like share it and promote you. That's the nice thing about that kind of thing. It's like everyone's just it's networking. This is how social media should work. Are you listening, Elon? Uh, people sharing things with other people. That's the essence of social media, right? No, it's about making as much money as possible. And yes, please, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm real salty about the whole Elon Twitter thing. Because yeah, I've been one of the last like I still like this platform holdouts on Twitter, right? Everybody I socialize with is long gone, and even if they're not gone, they're not active, right? They're not like just posting stuff like they used to. It's all, oh, this is where I find out about the news kind of thing, right? And that's largely the case for me. I still post, you know, fun, personal, friendly, personal stuff occasionally, but it's I'm one of the last, And when Elon comes in and the hammer falls, I can't imagine what's going to be left. Yeah, so Elon, Muskie boy, good old Elon, good old. Ugh, don't even get me started. Um, bought Twitter. And there's been a whole bunch of rigmarole about is the deal going to go through? Is not because it was a ridiculous amount of money. It was like 42 billion or something like that. Some absurd number that does I can't even process. Right. Um, and it's come out that he plans to like gut the thing and fire like 90% of the staff or something like that, and bring in payment processes and promote free speech, i.e., get all the Trump supporters back. Great. That's exactly what we need. So yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. As I was talking about on my on my own Twitter feed, I can't just as a small business person, I can't really afford to like cut off a big platform like that without really thinking about it. If it goes the way it looks like it's going to go, then I'll leave, no problem. But I'm certainly not going to be like active and friendly. I'll post links and I'll post like, stuff about my work, but I'm not going to be like, it's not going to be the personal kind of communication space that it was. And that's one of the reasons why Discord is so good. It's because Discord can still be that. Um, it's just it's cultivating small communities, right? We're going back from the whole the giant village to everybody's got their own little village, right? And I'm torn about is that a good thing or not. There are definitely good aspects to it. One of them being that you can filter out the real problematic people, which I have no problem with. I have never had a problem with the echo chamber. I'm happy if my social circle, if the people I communicate with regularly do not include white supremacists and homophobes and transphobes and stuff like that, I'm okay with that. I don't need to hear their garbage to know that they're wrong. So I think the echo chamber, there is something to be said for it. And I'm happy to have the Operation Puppet Discord be an echo chamber of people who aren't hateful bigots. That's the way it is. So we're off and flying today. Wow, I slept okay last night, so I'm just going. Um, so there we go. That's pinned. I don't know if you could hear. Is a baby crying outside? It's very loud. Um, it's a bit distracting. So anyway, so there's what I do first. I just pin the muzzle to the fur, and then we're gonna sew this, and then we're gonna pin the two halves together and sew that up. So that's how that works. Grab the machine. I guess we gotta go to the shoulder cam for this. Let me move. I am so I always say this, but I have to clean up this studio so bad. I'm always working, so it's I never get a chance to clean because it's always in use. Oh, so I gotta stuff's falling over. What else is new? I gotta go to the shoulder cam here because we're getting the machine out. So we'll do that. Oh, heavy duty is right. And take the black thread off. Why did I have black thread? Oh yes, Nosferatu. The Nosferatu for our very own Jamie is done. I was sewing Nosferatu's cloak. That was fun. I still got the Nosferatu. Actually, I can pull it down. If you haven't seen the video that I posted on the Operation Puppet YouTube channel, and I think I put it on Instagram as well. I can't even remember. It's all a blur. Um, yeah, I enjoyed the Nosferatu. Came out real good. We will pull that down in a sec. But right now we have sonk puppets to sonk. To in sonk. How does one in sonk? The lack of music's throwing me off a bit. I'm so used to having it. Some, just imagine some nice threading this sewing machine music, like elevator music, but highly specific. Sway, behave, don't tangle. Thank you. So cap on, and we are off to the races. Do 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 do. Let's see which way we can do this. It's always a bit of a trick when you're sewing anything with fur because it wants to slide around so bad. So what I've been doing lately is I'll sew like one end up a little bit, and then I'll flip it around to the other end, and then I'll stitch in between, just to make sure the two ends are anchored. So once you get to the end, it hasn't pushed it all the way and slid it around really bad. It's a little bit more fiddly than normal, but in the end, I think it's probably worth it because you end up with a more precise edge. So what I can do sometimes is spin it around like this. I don't know how well you can see that, but you should get the close-up cam. And take that clip off, and I'll make sure I can get to the pedal, which is buried under here. Oh, excuse me. Again, one day I will clean up all this stuff. One day, pigs will fly. And they will fly to space, and then we can get our puppet reference right there. Okay, let's see how well is this going to go. We good? All right, so then once I do that, pull it out. Come on, there you go. And then we'll basically do that on the other end. And then spin it around and do the middle. And it just, it forces everything to line up a little bit neater. I hate getting to the end and having it all shifted and then I have to trim it. This is more precise and clean this way. So sometimes what you can do, save a bit of fiddliness, is turn it like that, and maybe we can go up the whole thing. We'll see. Flip out. How we doing? Got there in the end. That's all that matters. So there we have our first half. And then we do it again. Yep. The old Tom. I mean, I always have Tom Waits of some description stuck in my head. That's a really easy thing to have done. Yeah, I know. Hello, JV. I can say good morning to you because I know what time zone you're in. I know. What's the expression that the young people are saying? Tom Waits lives in my head rent free, something like that. Okay. And then we'll spin it around. And then hopefully. Here we go. I'm sure a professional sewing machine operator would look at what I'm doing and faint. It's an old reference. Everyone checks out. Yeah, it's true. We have our first Star Wars reference of the day. So now that I got the two halves sewn, we will sew the two halves together, and that will make a whole, and that's math. Uh, Strangely quiet. You know what I'm missing? It's there's got construction really close to us, and I just got so used to the jackhammers and the giant whatever they use to make huge holes in the ground. You know, those big dinosaur-looking machines. I just got so used to that as background noise that it's not there right now. I don't know why. The building is not built, but there is not currently the sound of jackhammers and pneumatic whatevers. Pneumatic, because I'm from the 1850s apparently. That now that it's not there, I don't know what's going on. There's a strange silence that is the absence of something that I've grown used to. All right, so all I'm gonna do now is pin the two halves together. And when I say pin, I mean clip. Let's do that. It's gonna take a little while, so we'll go to the nice cam for that, which needs the ISO to be different, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Oh, stuff. So many things. Yeah, I'm gonna have the last of my coffee and then get some gum. That's it. Coffee's gone. I I've gotten the habit lately of when I make my morning coffee, I make a full batch. Full batch. I'll make 10. So I'll make basically 4 cups worth, and I'll have drink 2 cups, and then I put 2 cups in a thermos for the afternoon. So I've still got fresh hot coffee for when I want it, and it's not all stale. Doesn't have that boiled for 18 hours taste of pub coffee, you know. 43. All right. And my goal is to get these 2 song puppets done today, hopefully. And then next week, it's vacation time. We're not leaving until Thursday, so I don't actually need to take the beginning of the week off, but I probably will. You know what? That would not be a bad time. I got a bunch of maintenance stuff to do. I got to like clean up the studio, for example. Uh, I trust your coffee opinions. You taught me the add some cinnamon to the ground trick. Yes. I haven't done that in a while, actually. I haven't done that since I started drinking the Cafe Du Monde coffee and chicory blend. Um, because that might work, but the whole add cinnamon thing is a British trick that they stole from the Caribbean. There's a Caribbean thing. Just like everything else in the empire. Never. One of my favorite historians, Greg Jenner, was on a podcast this morning that was like commenting on the current state of British politics. Um, and I tried to listen, but the opening of the podcast, because he was like you make comparisons between like what's currently happening now, what happened in ancient Rome, and I always love those nothing ever changes kind of approaches to history. And but the opening of the podcast was just them playing sound bites of Rishi Sunak and conservative so and so's. Wait, does this bleep work? Conservative. I don't think that worked. It didn't work. I'll work on that. I'll work on getting the censor button. um, just like just spouting the same old tired conservative script, and to hear like Rishi Sunak talking about how like immigrants are bad. Come on, mate. Like, what? Yeah, it's. Oh, it actually went out. I didn't see it. Well, no, I am using a Go XLR. I use a Go XLR in the studio here, but I've got I don't have the full mix going out onto the stream. I've just got the NVIDIA broadcast mic and nothing else. So, yeah, okay, weird. Um, Maybe I haven't set up the routing properly. So I don't know. Who looks at routing tables anymore? Not back in my day when we used to look at routing tables all day. What are you even talking about anymore? Nobody knows. Anyscape, hello, nice to see you. Good, whatever time of day it is for you. Currently pinning two halves of a song puppet together. And we will be joining them as one momentarily. These are going to be the last builds for October. Then, when I get back from New York, I'm going to start on holiday themed builds. So, on the docket for this year, I just have, I'm going to do a Krampus because I do at least one Krampus. Almost 8 a.m. Wow, that's early. It's 10:47 for me. Um, I'm going to do a Krampus because I always do a Krampus every holiday season. No idea what color it's going to be this year. Let's see what I've got in stock. Um, and I think I'm going to capitulate to the masses and actually do some Santa smalls, which I haven't done yet. But for a couple of reasons. One, because I think I won't have any problem selling those. And two, because I got a load of red fleece that I don't really know what to do with. So Santa suits. Yeah, I think Santa smalls will probably be real popular. I hope they will. I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't be. That's what's going to be the holiday bills for this year. Make Kermit a Santa coat and hat. Yeah, I'm not a Christmassy person. That's the thing. So when I do stuff for the holiday, this is why I went. You know what, Krampus? I'll do a Krampus, no problem. Uh, I kind of have to force myself to. This is why I always do Halloween stuff because I have a Halloween person. So loves me some Halloween. So that's the one I really get into. Christmas I just do because hey, it's fine. I'm not like anti-Christmas or anything, but uh, I just not into it, right? So taking the time to dress up Kermit, I don't know. Frankie, on the other hand, Frankie with a tiny Santa hat, that's got potential, and he definitely won't like it. What is this? What are you talking about? Whose idea was this? Marketing. See, Already we're riffing. This is what pinning time is good for, right? It's good for making up new plot lines for the Oracle. There we go. Unseen CEO of Oracle Productions should be a live hands Krampus, so Frankie can say, you know, now it makes sense. That's not bad. That's not bad. I've actually got a few ideas about there's new characters I want to do that before I can even build them, I have to reconsider how space works in this room because it's currently full of everything. So that's pretty good though. So it's always a bit of a question of where to start the stitch on these because do I start it? These are going to be the long nosed songs. I got to start or end up here and then go here and then around the corner and then go all the way the whole thing. So I'm going to start with the fleece because that's the one you need to be most precise. If the fur gets off kilter, it's not such a big deal. But I'm going to try to seat this in such a way that when I turn the corner, it'll sit right. Easier said than done. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, well, the problem is that it literally isn't. I should take. Hang on, maybe we could do this. I don't know how advisable this is. This is probably we're about to do a bad idea. Let's see. So this is going to be very shaky cam. I've got the GoPro here, and I can move around. Okay, so here's what the whole studio looks like. It's literally it's a 7 foot by 11 foot room. So, so there's one wall. Okay, there's the one of the lights. There's the backdrop for the Oracle. Right here's the top down camera. Some shelves where again, please don't judge me. It's just how it is when you're working. Some tools. So there's a holding pen there for a lot of bits and pieces. And then we come to the shelf of my characters. All right, and there's Frankie, Gus, Jelly Roll, I think the occasional Kermit and the Oracle, and then the big Kermit, and it's just that's all my personal stuff. Then behind me, I can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah, Kirby, exactly. There's my closet, and then rolls of foam and fur, and there's the puppet cam, and then around this wall, where I've got the monitors, there's where fur storage is, and all of those shelves are full. There's my thread, and there's another light. There's Arthur the Muffin up there. Another light. Here's some more puppet storage on that shelf. Here's my monitors. There's the video switcher. And then back here, this is where my table is. There's my Linux box. And then some shelves where I have no other place to put these collectibles. That's why they're there. And that's an inaccessible corner, so I can't really get to that. And then it's it. Then we're back around to the full. That's it. That's the whole studio. There's no room for anything. So, you know, I have to rethink a lot of things. And underneath the desk, I'm not even going to show this, but underneath the table, sealing storage, yeah, that's full too. I've got bins under there, and that's where a lot of the puppets that I built for the shop go. They go into these bins just for safekeeping, but. You still have wall space? No, I don't. I swear. There's nothing. Well, okay. You know what? Above where my characters live, there is some space. The problem is the characters that I want to build. At least two of them are going to be live hands puppets, the same size as Frankie. So if you look at, here we go again. If you look at, right, you look how tall Frankie is. Right there's from the top of Frankie's head to the ceiling is not enough space for another Frankie. Sorry, this is all weird. Right, that's it. And again, there's no other place for my hats to go. This is it. That's it. That's the only blank bit of a wall in the entire room, and there is not enough space in there for another full size shelf. So I need that's the problem. I need like headspace. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Frankie, Gus, and Jelly Roll, and the Oracle are all trying to do barbershop quartet, and Kermit's trying to get away. That's it. Um, but yeah, no, I guess I have to. What I need to do is rethink how the lighting works because I've got these two LED panels that are sitting up on the shelves, and if I get those mounted onto the walls directly, or lighter ones that are mounted on the walls directly, then I can free up some existing shelf space. That might be a potential solution. So we'll see. Again, it's just going to require a rethink. But anyway, enough of that jocularity. Hit the corner. So now what I got to do is turn this very carefully. Oh, this is going to go bad. I did this wrong. Eh, of course I did. All right. So tell you what, I'm going to drop this down, backstitch that, and reseat it. I did it the opposite of the good way. Of course I did. Why would you expect anything different? But that's okay because it is a quarter. We can just start again. Do it again. Right this time. Your inner saboteur is Frankie. My inner monologue is Frankie. There's a reason why Frankie is never far. Hey, six people. Looks like we hit the golden hour. Folks are showing up. Speaking of folks showing up, Frankie Play stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, which I have not announced on socials yet, but that's when it's going to happen. You ever explain the genesis of Frankie's name and accent? Not the name, but the accent. I did make an early reference in one of I think it was the first season of the Oracle, um, where the Oracle asks Frankie about his accent, and because Frankie's accent is more akin to Brooklyn and Queens, whereas Frankie in episode one says he's from Jersey, right? Um, so the Oracle asks him about that, and Frankie says, well, "Yeah, it's true. What you say is true, but you got to remember that trolls live a long time." I'm just trying to remember the line here so I can do it in Frankie's voice. You got to remember that trolls live a long time. I'm like, I don't know, 400 or something. When I lived in Jersey, it wasn't even Jersey, it was just forest. But that's not why I talk like this. I talk like this because this is just the way trolls talk. This is just my natural accent. I did not get this from the humans. The humans got it from me. Right? So Frankie is the origin of that accent. Trolls in general are the origin of that accent. And the humans got it from their communications with the trolls, not the other way around. So that's the explanation for why all trolls talk with the Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens accent, which I really enjoy. And that's why Murray Frankie's nephew, who did make a brief appearance on the show, basically talks like this, right? Because it's all, and you're gonna meet Frankie's sister at some point, and will have a similar vocal style. Once again, that was first season Oracle, so that was Frankie and the Oracle 1.0, and I really want to, at some point, if I ever have the time, I'm just going to remake all of season 1 and 1.5, because there was a season 1.5 as well, which was like my plans for season 2 just went sideways, so I did like a season 1.5 because I wanted to shoot more, and it was just more of the same. So I couldn't really call it a season 2. In fact, the reason it's season 2 is because that's when I built the new puppets. All right, so there's one side. Knocking everything over. Let me see. It's not the, oh, it's fine. Some got a little bit misaligned, but I can compensate for that. It's gonna be quite a thin muzzle, but that looks good on occasion. So the other side is pretty much just a straight shot because you don't have to worry about getting too fancy on fur. Fur, as we have talked about previously, is very forgiving. Fleece is not. Fleece is a harsh ruler. And voila, one half of one song. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna trim up the scam. I'm gonna trim all the extra seam allowance off, and then we'll sew the other one. So now it's just kicking back, cutting and pinning. I should have emptied my garbage can before I started this. It is overflowing. So as I'm throwing these things down there, they're just hitting the floor. I just gotta. It's how things work. You let it hit the floor and then you clean it up. That's being in a shop. I have to stitch that by hand, but that's all right. So I don't know how far we're gonna get on stream. We've got a whole other hour to go yet, so that's good. I can start making the mouth plates, maybe. I'll cut the fabric mouth plates, but then I'll also make the plastic and foam mouth plates. I won't actually glue them in because I got to hand stitch the fabric lining in, and that takes a while. So that probably won't get done on stream, but you can get the bits made. I have moved some puppets around from the direct shop back to the Etsy shop because although the direct shops was doing okay, again, everything is slow right now for everybody. Um, the economy, you know. Um, what I realized was a lot of the sales on the direct shop were from repeat clients. I'm sorry, I'm off camera. I didn't realize. Um, which is fantastic and always appreciated. But I wasn't getting a lot of new traffic, right? Which just makes sense. It's my website. Like, who even knows about Google anymore? So there's no way you can, quote unquote SEO optimize it uh, through any legitimate or ethical means. So I still kind of need to use Etsy to just get new eyeballs. So I did move some puppets back to the Etsy shop, and I've restarted my advertising campaign there, and that's has actually brought some new folks into the fold, as it were. So I'll probably just keep going with that. In fact, these songs will probably end up on the Etsy shop instead of the direct shop. But that's the thing. I'm trying to I'll put the lower end items. I still got like the ogre went back up on the Etsy shop. Just because I want a few examples of oh yeah, there's more than just the simple things. Um, so the ogre's up there. There we go. One song. So now I gotta pin together, clip together the other song, and this one is going to need yellow flea or yellow thread, so I'm going to switch that out too. Um, so right now on the Etsy shop, I think there's two song puppets, the ogre and a Nurney, I think, if I remember correctly. Basically, I split it in half. I got half of the stock is on the Etsy shop, the other half's on the direct shop. And I just make sure that everybody who goes to the Etsy shop is made aware of the existence of the direct shop, and there are things on the direct shop that aren't on the Etsy shop, uh, and uh, and that seems to be uh, working. So I can't drop Etsy entirely now. I was hoping I could, but it's just not practical, and that's all right. That's why I want to make sure I keep in Etsy's good graces, despite my misgivings about their business practices. Again, much like Twitter, I can't really afford not to. It's just how business on the internet works, right? I wish it didn't. I will work to try and make it not, but reality is reality. It's pesky that way. Going to make sure I put the right side against the right side so we're not sewing one half inside out. That would suck. Not that I've ever done that before. Of course not. Okay, there we go. So that's pinned together. So now we've got to get some yellow thread. Let me get this out of the way. This will be able to reach my bobbins here. Back to the shoulder cam. So take the orange out. Kind of a darker yellow. His. Again, don't have a lot on this bobbin, but maybe it'll be enough. Got to the point where I actually have to start thinking about economizing thread use. Thread ain't free, you know? Right, so there's, excuse me for Getting all up in the camera's grill here. What's this one? Hey, machine closer to me. That would be easier. This way so it doesn't tangle. And in doing so, I tangle it. Uh-huh. Business as usual. Everything is proceeding as expected. Okay, there we go. I do enjoy that in the dark year of our Dark Lord of the Sith 2022. I have a partially inflated Amiga 1200 on my lap. I saw something the other day, possibly on Twitter, that I thought you would like. It's somebody who's made an accordion out of, I think they were Commodore 64s, possibly VIC 20s. But like the two halves of the accordion are the keyboard, are the actual computers, and then in the middle the accordion part. I can't remember what it's called, the bellows part. Yeah, okay, you saw that. They're all floppy disks. That was I first thing I thought was, yep, Jamie needs to see this. I appreciate the effort. Okay, here we go. See how this goes. C64. The other was C60. There was a C64C. Who went? You know what? Let's go with that naming convention. That won't be confusing at all. They went on to have a career in Xbox. You proceed with cost reduced version, smaller motherboard. Integrating into each other. You got the standard Commodore move. Yeah, I had as I talked about before, my first actual computer was the TI 99 4A. Love that thing to bits. Still have strong affection for it. Um, but I was always jealous of my friends with C64s because they could do sprites, and the TI 99 4A could not. I think there was an expansion card you could get for it or something. If you've ever seen a picture of a TI 99 4A with all of the expansion bits available, hardware sprites. Yep, exactly. It's ridiculous. Uh, but as I did eventually get a VIC 20, I went to the dark side, and I couldn't afford a C64, so I got a VIC 20, and that couldn't do hardware sprites. I think, if I remember correctly. I don't know. You can correct me. I remember hardware sprites were the thing that made me go ooh. Okay. Yeah, I never learned how to use them. I think that was the thing. Like everything else from that era, wasn't terribly intuitive. I've told this story before. I don't know if I've ever told it on a stream, but the experimenting with the TI 994A, or not the yeah, the TI 994A was my first foray into making computer graphics because you could write in. I learned to program in TI Basic, which was their own version of Basic, and literally to run it, you plugged in. It was like a game cartridge. You plugged in a game cartridge to run the Basic language environment. Yeah, well, I see you tweeting stuff from was it Retro Rewind, Jamie, that you hang out with? Good stuff there. I like the fact that people keep that stuff up. So yeah, I learned to program in Basic, in TI Basic, which was like other Basic, but not also. But you could print, do basically a print screen of like you could turn on pixel blocks or turn off pixel blocks, doing a thing called it was a call H character or something like that, and then you would have to type in coordinates. A lot of early computers didn't have Basic on ROM. Yeah. Um, and so what I would do is I would take graph paper and I would map out, much like those early pictures of like mapping out early Mario levels that you've seen that are literally just drawn on graph paper. That's what I would do. I would decide what I wanted a picture of, map it out on graph paper, which is was just an on-off state, right? So pixel on, pixel off, and then write a many lines, like hundreds of lines of Basic to just like make this picture appear on the screen. Here's the fun part. At the time, yep, you're the computer programmer and Dungeon Master's best friend. There was a reason I had graph paper around, right? Um, at the time, I didn't have a tape drive or a floppy drive or any other means of storage other than RAM on my little TI 994A. So if I were to turn off the machine, my hundreds and hundreds of lines of Basic would go away. So I would spend days writing a program to make a picture. I think my biggest one was Admiral Akbar in Profile. And yeah, I could print that out on the screen. I couldn't see it all at once, of course, because it was an 80 line monitor or whatever. Um, and then when I decided I'd seen it enough times, turn off the machine and it would all evaporate into the ether. It was very much. I hate to make this analogy, but it's the first thing I thought of. In Tibetan Buddhism, they do a form of mandala painting with sand paintings. Everybody knows about this. But the whole point of it is, and when they're done the mandala, they destroy it. They and these beautiful, elaborate scenes, and then at the end of it, because it's just made of sand, it just blows away, right? And it's a meditation. It's a lesson on impermanence and the nature of transientness and stuff like that. And it was very much that kind of practice. It's like, well, I know this is temporary. I'm going to put in the effort to make this thing and then let it go. And it was I like to think now it was a valuable lesson. I'm not sure I actually learned it, but maybe I did. But yeah, that was my very first experiments with making pictures on a screen. It was that. Then I got a tape drive, and then my life changed. Then I lost interest. Having disk space or a tape drive, the C64 allowed me to save some of my early programs. Too bad none of the tapes or discs survived. Yeah, that was the amazing thing, was the realizing that I didn't actually need the specific tape drive. I just needed the cable, and you could plug any tape, like a little Sanyo tape recorder. You could just, because it was all just audio, right? It was just making, it was just like the early modems. It was just making noises that turned into bits and bytes. Um, so I eventually did just get the cable and plug in my little tape recorder, and it worked. And it was amazing. Now I work in the medium of puppets, so they last for a little while longer. Still impermanent. Fancier ones would take start, stop, and record commands from the computer. Yeah, I think that's what the TI was like. I just remember playing it back without the cables plugged in, and you could hear all the data, which was wild because it was just like the early modem sounds, right? The TI had a modem, and it was one of those suction cup modems where you would put the phone, the two halves of the rotary phone, which was wild. My friends at Richard Rewind to save something like 80 or 90 Commodore 64s from the trash through various spares. Nice. All right, here we go again. Now, I did it the wrong way the first time. How do we do this the right way? How about if I just start? What if I start here? I don't know. It's always I had to flip it around in my brain, and my brain doesn't do that very well. I'm just gonna start, see where it goes. Get kind of off kilter here. Let me just reseat that. Good old fleece. Okay. Now we got to turn this around. This should work because we don't have long distance to go. Now I can hear Jimmy outside the door trying to get in. Sorry, buddy, not today. The HR lady just came through my office with the CPR dummy. She somehow managed to rip his head right off in front of my desk and throw his torso at me. You're having a day. That's a non-usual day. I would assume getting torsos thrown at you is not a normal quote unquote day at your office. It is around here, let me tell you. Sometimes you can't see for the torsos. That's wild. Okay, there we go. That worked okay. Might have a little. You know what? I'm gonna buy a little insurance over here. The stitching didn't go quite to plan. Rather than having to hand stitch this later, I'm just gonna put in another seam. On a normal day, if a torso is being thrown at me, someone should be calling 911. Yeah, same. Honestly, Hopefully that'll buy us a little insurance for that stitching that kind of went sideways. I don't want to have to hand sew this if I don't have to. Okay, there we go. It all gets easier from here. Famous last words. I think I may have run out of thread on the bobbin. Let's see. Yes, indeed. I have to do bits of this seam again. It's the problem with fabric this thick is sometimes it'll happen and you don't notice. You gotta rethread the bobbin. So rethreading the bobbin music, please. $11:27. Okay. We got half an hour left. Oh, if the mic's picking up any of the machine sounds. It must sound awfully quiet if the mic is filtering all that stuff out, which I think it is. Maybe I should just take the filter off the mic. It's a decent quality mic, so it shouldn't actually need it. And then you could hear the mysterious hair dryer that never makes noises. Through. Where did I put the case cover? Oh, that's the only here it is. The only thing I don't like about this machine is the case cover for the bobbin casing is separate. It doesn't just pop open; it actually comes completely off, and I don't like that because it's easy to lose. Okay, did I not? I didn't pin the other side of this. No wonder. Let me just do that now. Red everywhere. Oh boy. Other than Harlem and a trip to my favorite clothing shop, gentleman's accessory shop, called Fine and Dandy, where I can buy things like very nice bow ties, which is in Hell's Kitchen. I've got no plans for we don't have any like we're gonna go to museums and stuff, of course, like we always do, but there was no agenda for this trip. It's just like we're just gonna go and be in New York for a couple of days and just figure it out. We're actually staying quite close to Hell's Kitchen this time, so be a pleasant walk. Hopefully the weather will hold. Best part about it is I'm gonna get to wear some clothes I haven't had a chance to wear yet. Like I've bought new suits and everything. I've lost enough weight that I'm almost at my target, so it's like now it's like okay, I can start buying new clothes now because my actual circumference probably won't change that much from this point on. So yeah, just watch over random vigilantes as you walk through Hell's Kitchen. Exactly. Is your name Murdoch? Your name's Murdoch, isn't it? I know you. Okay, here we go. And now the other side. Oh, you know what? Hang on, let's try a little experiment. I know there's not a lot of people here right now, but I should actually be able to turn off the mic filter. So there we go. Am I still sending signal? Yes, I am. Okay. That's with the filter off. See if you can hear the machine. I'm gonna look at the monitor and see. Something's there. Yeah, that noise is going out on the mic. I think I prefer it. It's more dynamic this way. It ran out of magic. I gotta fill the magic up again. Hey, Oracle, come here and fill this up with magic, will you? What are you talking about? Regular Billy West over here. Okay, that's it for the sewing machine for this go round. All right, so now we gotta trim it up. Get rid of all the seam allowances. No seams allowed. Maybe if I leave the filter off, you'll finally be able to hear the screaming children from the daycare. And I'll prove that I'm not crazy. Finally, proof. All right, now this is going to get weird because I had to double stitch this. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do one side at a time just to make sure it's okay. My gut tells me I'm still going to have to hand stitch a little bit of this because the seam kind of got off kilter. That's okay. That's what hands are for. One of the many uses of hands. Maybe it'll be okay. Check right now. Turn this. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. Okay. Nice. Slightly less work. It's my favorite kind of work. So after this, I got to make the mouth plate linings and then the rigid mouth plates. Socks do not have grips like other puppets do because they're designed to be either entry level or practice puppets, that kind of thing. They don't really need them. The way that the mouth works in a sock puppet is with the foam. It's a big piece of foam and it holds the mouth open. And so when you put your hand in, it just naturally wants to kind of open again. So you get the the grippiness that way. And it's a little simpler and it's less time and therefore less money that I have to charge for them because these are like my entry level, get your feet wet kind of things. So this will not be having grips, which is good because I'm out. That's one of the things I got to do next week is I got to make arm rods and finger loops and tongues. I have to cut some, I only have a couple of red tongues left. I got a lot of pink tongues. So these are going to get red mouth linings because that's the only thing that looks good with a pink tongue. You do black mouth linings, red tongue, pink mouth line, or pink tongues get a red mouth lining because otherwise if you do a black lining with a pink tongue, it looks like they're sick or something. It looks like you're not well. That should not be that color. So I'm almost out of red tongue, so I got to cut some more. I got to get the freaking Cricut out, which I hate. I hate that thing. I hate it and I love it. Like you could do stuff with it you can't do otherwise, but it's such a pain to use that I don't. It's another reason why I still haven't gone all the way and got a 3D printer because I just know it's going to be the same situation where it's like, yes, you could do amazing things with it, but the process of getting there is just such a chore that I'd probably be happier without it. I feel at some point I probably am going to have to just bite the bullet and get a 3D printer because there's stuff I want to do that, you just can't do easily any other way. Again, it's still not easy. It's just difficult in a different way. Okay, there we go. 2 songs sewn. Well, 2 songs basically sewn. So, go to the top here. So there we go. So these you leave these inside out until they're ready to turn, but there we go. We got that. So, now I'm going to make the fabric mouth linings. Forgive me for standing up in front of the camera. What we really need is a nice close-up of the top of my head. So as I said, these are going to be red mouth linings. So we need some. I got plenty of this stuff. Let's use this. This is the good stuff, actually. This is the nice Ultra Suede. I use Ultra Suede for my mouth linings usually. And this is the nice stuff from Puppet Pelts. And I have a fair amount of it. I got a whole other sheet of this. I don't use red mouth linings as often as I do black, so I'm kind of getting low on black. So I'll use red, and the nice thing about this stuff is you can draw on it with just a regular pen. So let me see if I have a regular pen. Yes, I do. Okay. So I've got the template around here somewhere. Where did I put it? There it is. And for socks, the plastic and cloth mouse plate use the same pattern. So, and then with for the fabric, it's just mirrored. So, is that going to draw? Yes, that's going to draw. Okay. Not well, but may have to get another pen. Is that going? Yeah, it's going. We'll just mirror that. And there we go. And I'll always, always, always mark your center line. And there's one. And there's no seam allowances on these since we hand sew them. So, come on, draw a pen. You got one job. You can't be out of ink. That's not what happens to pens. You just lose them when they're still full of ink. Maybe not. Maybe this pen just died. I think this pen just died. I can't see the cartridge. I can't see if there's actually any ink in there or not. Come on, you can do it. One more. One last push for King and Country or something. Yeah, okay, we got it. Well, not really a center line on that one, but maybe we'll be okay. God. One last line, and then you can rest, I promise. Forget it. You're gone. Get out of here. We don't need you. And it's going to give it a rough cut. Trying to waste as little as possible. And cut this out. We're going to end on some exciting hand sewing action. Cut it out on camera. Kevin, you're streaming, remember? It's hard to do because I have to get in and like lean into it. I'm used to just sitting back and bringing it to me. The nice stuff about this Ultra Suede is, I've talked about this before, I don't know how they make this stuff. This is not woven. It's like a solid sheet. It's almost like very thin foam. But the super nice thing about that is it does not fray. And I love this stuff. I wish it wasn't so expensive. I mean, the actual fabric itself isn't terribly expensive, but for me to buy it, the only place I can get this is Puppet Pelts. And unfortunately, with the exchange and the shipping is monstrous, and the duty, import fees, and all that stuff. Just they double, if not triple, the cost. So, fortunately, I cannot use this very often. This is the stuff I use for Kermits. All the Kermits I've made, all 3 of the Kermits I've made, I've used this as the mouth lining. Here we go. So, here we go again with the exciting pinning action. So all I do is I clip them in to where they're going to sit and then hand sew them. This is why we mark the center lines, because the center goes on the center. I know. Stop me if this gets too complicated. match center to center, and then you sew it up. So I start with 4 clips, and I usually put more on than that, but the more clips / pins you use, the better, because it stops it from moving around, which is always a bad thing on something you're trying to sew. But the nice thing about Song Puppets is it's all just center line. So the hinge is at the center point where the 2 bits meet. It's all good. There's no funny business. You don't have to sort of move it around to try and make it fit. This is another example of a pattern that I made by hand, just by drawing shapes until I got the shape I wanted. This is why it's always good to have a source and a supply of just like non-expensive fabric that you're not necessarily going to make the final puppet out of this, but while you're prototyping, you can just play around and make shapes and make your patterns. So this needs a little bit of tweaking, so I'm going to have to hand sew a little bit of the snout. That's okay. Just to make it lay in there properly. I'll sort that out after I'm done hand sewing it. Oops. Okay. And now the green one. I realize this is exactly the same, not just colors, but exactly the same fabrics as another song puppet I made relatively recently that I believe somebody on the Discord actually ended up owning. I can't remember who, Mook, I think? It's actually their profile picture right now. Yeah, Mook. So I'm making another Mook. It's going to be slightly different because I don't think Mook's has a little bit of fur on the top. So this will be slightly different. I try not to make duplicates, but it does happen on occasion. There's only so many colors and combinations of colors to go around, right? It's a nice combination too. And there's some combinations of colors that I just can't do. So like I always try and make it, this was not always the case. I learned the hard way. I always try and make it, I never put blue and green together for obvious, well, if you're a videographer, obvious reasons. Because you can't blue screen it or green screen it. So you have to get something weird like a red screen or something. And there ain't many of those around. You can always get a blue screen, you can always get a green screen. Very rarely get a red screen. This one's not lining up as well as it should. Why not? Let's do it like this. I got the seam a little bit misaligned there. Oh well, I can fix that. On the fly. Do. Derpa-derpa-doo. Okay. We'll just go around the curve. Lay in the fleece. Yeah, you can make a red screen out of ultra suede, but that might be a bit expensive, particularly this ultra suede. Yeah, no, it's true. You could always make a strangely colored screen. And sometimes they have to, right? Sometimes if there is something that's, you know, it's got blue and green on it, then yep, that's what you got to do. Or get really fancy and use, instead of actually using a traditional keying method, do like a, you know, depth map or something with some machine learning stuff and try and isolate the elements that way. Or rotoscope it by hand, which is not fun. All possibilities, though. My keying on the show has got a bit better. Also, the latest version of DaVinci Resolve is freaking amazing for that kind of thing. It's still not perfect though. I'm still working on it. I mean, if I spent time on it, I could get it better, but I kind of don't worry about that too much for the Oracle because it's kind of supposed to look like a cheesy, crappy, you know, kid show from the '70s kind of thing. So I don't mind if the chroma key is like dodgy. Okay, there we go. We are pinned together. So now we're almost at time anyway. Now you get to the exciting hand sewing. And I don't even have music. So get some red thread. Get my pin cushion, my little thread shears. And now I need some coffee. Boy, I ever need some coffee. It feels wrong to be sitting hand sewing and not having a coffee. But we're almost at time. I'm not going to go for a break, get a coffee, and come back when we're like 10 minutes away from the end of the stream. So I'll suffer and wait for post-stream coffee. Cue waiting room music. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. Like, I put any music at all on the stream. Doesn't matter if it's Creative Commons licensed or not. Facebook mutes it because no humans work at Facebook anymore. It's all bots. And they just automatically mute any music. So that's one of the reasons why we get these weird silences on stream now. Kevin, keep talking. I have nothing to say. Doesn't matter, keep talking. The worst thing you could have is dead air. I'll bet you it's not the worst thing. I could think of worse things. Imagine some, actually the one time I did get, it wasn't like a copyright strike, but it was like a warning or something, was one of the early, oh, it was the Oracle video in season 1 with the Snoofs. And it was like Gus making up all these amazing things that Snoofs could do. And it was basically like a commercial, right? For like, here are all the fantastic things that your Snoof can do. And collapse the global economy on vinyl, yeah. And there's a very specific music, I can't remember what it was called, but there's like this commercial music from the 50s. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm sure if you've ever seen a commercial in the 50s or a parody of a commercial from the 50s, you know what I'm talking about. I found that, I thought the music I had found was Creative Commons licensed. I wouldn't have used it if it wasn't. But that got a copyright strike. Not a copyright strike, but again, like a warning. I don't remember if I ever took it down because it didn't count against the channel or anything. So I'm like, eh. All it meant was I couldn't monetize. And I don't monetize my YouTube channel anyway. Can't. I don't have enough followers yet. So, you know, I just left it. It was that, and it was the vlog where I was talking about the influences for the voices of the various characters, and I was talking about Nicole Williamson from Excalibur, the movie Excalibur. being one of the influences for the Oracle, and I used a little clip from Excalibur, and sure enough, that one was like, no, that's hey, you can't fool this algorithm. I know a Hollywood movie when I see one. Meanwhile, there's whole channels that are like devoted to just ripping off. Here's every scene from the MCU with Robert Downey Jr. in it or something, right? And it's just like they don't get it, or they do and they don't care. But no, I can't put a cult film from 1982 up. Nope. Oh well. Best New American Truck Simulator, and I have my cousin's band music on background. I got a strike for that. Yeah, I think we talked about that before, right? Yeah, it's again, it's all just because there's no humans looking at this stuff or thinking about this stuff. It's all just some quite sophisticated algorithms, but they're still just algorithms, right? They can't reason. So it's gonna happen. When I did one of the early Jelly Roll videos was Jelly Roll talking about a song by an artist called Define Us, post Truth era, which was kind of a modern blues song or like a new kind of version of a blues song. Um, and I actually got permission to use a clip from the video, and that never got a copyright strike, which I thought was really interesting because it's a quite well known in some circles artist, and it was just a copy of the video that I captured from YouTube, right? So it's like I shouldn't be able to do this without some warning going off. But I guess maybe um, the artist whose name I'm escapes me, their band name is Define Us. Um, I just hadn't set it up so the record label wouldn't flag anything, right? But I did actually get permission. I had two versions of the video ready to go where I didn't use a clip, just in case they said no, right? But thankfully they said yes, and I put it up, and it was all fine. I do try to be very aware of that kind of thing. I don't just assume it's either going to be okay or don't care because, like I said before, I am an artist who makes original work, so I don't want somebody using my stuff unauthorized, and I respect that in other artists, no matter how big or small they are. If I wouldn't want it done to me, I don't do it to other people. It's pretty simple. Well, we're like 2 minutes away from the end here, and it's gonna be this for the next hour or two. So we'll probably close off. Yeah, the bots hear the music, and if it isn't in the YouTube library, I seem to automatically get a strike. Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's it, right? So they do have their library of stuff that they go, yeah, you can use this. So like I use a lot of the music I use is either from Production Crate, which does that's what they do is they do stock both video, images, and sounds. So a lot of the music is from them, and some of the music is also from the famous Incompetech Kevin Cloud, I want to say, is their name. Um, Incompetech is a very, very famous Creative Commons licensed music creator. A lot of people use their stuff. I use a lot of it too. In fact, the Oracle's theme song, Unholy Night, is Incompetech. And I donated them on PayPal, and I made sure that they got compensated for it. And there's it's with attribution, right? So if you look at the credits of the Oracle, then there's always what do you call that hand stitch you're using? It looks like you wrap thread around. Yes, I do. So it's a whip stitch, but it's called a locking whip stitch. So here, let's see if we can do this. Since I got the close-up cam working, I can even show you. Forgive that shot of the very, very close-up shot of my scissor bucket. All right, let me see here. So, in a whip stitch, you just going in and coming out, going in and coming out, going in and coming out, and you're just making loops, right? But in a locking web stitch, you go in, then you wrap the thread, well, you can see that, wrap the thread around, and then pull it through. And what this does is it basically creates a little knot every stitch. I know that the focus is not great on this. Also, it's red on red, so. But you're basically just doing a little knot every single stitch, and this really, really holds it in tight, and it builds, with a regular web stitch, the tension kind of gets distributed as you do it, and this builds in the tension in every single stitch, so it's really good to do for something that's you just want to lock and hold in place. Good question, thank you. I won't say instant stitch, no. Okay, all right, here we go. We're gonna do a big reveal. Even for JB, this is gonna be a big reveal. At the very end of the stream, so those who didn't watch will regret. No, they won't. No one's gonna care. Thank you for showing that. Yes, yeah, no problem. If you're again, any questions, I'm always happy to answer. I can't stop thinking about it, so we're gonna do it, and we're gonna plan to do it for the new year. Starting in January, there's gonna be a new podcast. We have had some discussions about this, but I have decided I really just want to do it. I don't know how big of an audience we're gonna get. I don't know if we're gonna get an audience at all, but I miss podcasting. I do want to do it again. And with my original crew that I used to podcast with. So, JB, warm up them golden pipes, because you're going to be using them, I hope. Yeah. A new podcast. It's going to be... So the current working title in my head is going to be Pixels and Puppets, because I happen to own the URL, pixelsandpuppets.com. And it's basically just going to be that. We're going to be talking about what we've been doing every week, either with the puppet building thing or with gaming or tech or that kind of thing. With it, all the stuff that I talk about in Operation Puppet, we'll just talk about in the podcast. And yeah. So I'm hoping that Andrew can join us. I want to keep it the original crew from the old podcast that we used to do. And we'll see about bringing other people on. Maybe we can even have some call-in guests. You know, it could grow, but hopefully we'll get something of an audience. I mean, I think if most of the people on the Discord also listen to Chips and Fleece, yeah, that's not bad. If most of the people who are currently on the Discord also listen to the upcoming podcast, that's enough of an audience. I don't need a big audience. I just want to know that there's somebody listening, right? So as long as we can get a few people regularly listening, that's enough. Because it is doing a well-produced podcast is a fair amount of work. So it is something that I do have to consider, right? Because it is just time. But yeah, I want to do it. So we're gonna give it a shot. I have no idea how long it's gonna last. There's no plan, like most things I do. But yeah. So there we go. There's the big reveal. I can even clip that and we'll put it out on socials. My pleasure, no problem. Always happy to give the tips and the tricks, both. I can listen more to a podcast. I can watch videos anyway. It works. So I will. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, this is just a different medium, right? And it'll be nice to do something, because I like doing, when I do the live streams, of course, I'm either doing this or it's Frankie Play, and I don't want to just stream video games as me, because who the heck wants that? But it'd be nice to do a podcast where I could just talk as me and not be in character, or not necessarily be in character. I'm sure the characters will come as we talk, but that is another thing I just kind of want to do, and I'm more comfortable now, just from getting all the practice live streaming. I can kind of just lean into it. I trust myself enough to have something to say that so it'll be sustainable. That's the other thing. In the old podcast, I was always just kind of going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but yeah. Yep, Frankie is always never far behind. And that's the other thing, is being in character as Frankie. One of the reasons why I'm so comfortable streaming the Frankie Play streams is because Frankie is just much more talkative and funnier than I am. and I can improv with Frankie in a way that I can't with any other character. It's all, I'm sure there's some deep psychology behind that, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, there's the big story. So on that note, I think we're gonna end because I need coffee, and I'm barely halfway through this one mouth plate. So hope you'll have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. Frankie Play stream not tomorrow. Wait, yes, it's Thursday. So yes, tomorrow, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Frankie Play. We'll play. I think we're probably doing Diablo again with the guys, the future podcast crew. And yeah, next week might be weird. So I'm leaving for New York on Thursday. So if I do a build stream next week, it'll be before that. So probably Wednesday as usual. But we'll see because I'm not sure what I'm going to be building next week, if anything at all. So thank you very much, everyone. My pleasure, Atomic Soup. Have a great rest of your week. Hopefully we can see some of y'all tomorrow for the Frankie Play stream. And otherwise, we will see you when we see you. And I'm going to hit the right button. It's the one that says end. See? Here we go.